Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, and yep, it's that day again. It's QOTW, question of the week. And last week it was with sad but understandable news that one of the pillars of this comic book community, a good friend of mine, uploaded a video and told us all that he won't be making YouTube videos anymore. Of course, I'm talking about Koestenbraumstar, Scott, and I thoroughly respect his decision in this, and I maybe have a sneaky suspicion it might be a long time coming, but he'll come back. YouTube has this way of keeping a tiny little bit of you, and hopefully later on in the future Scott will be 100% and back to making some videos now and again. Now, with that in mind, I kind of was thinking about characters that we miss within the comic book universe. So my question to all of you out there this week is, what comic book character that is not currently being used in the comic book universe are you missing the most? That's my question of the week. So last week we had some great questions posed to me yet again, and this week I've got lots of props again, lots of examples to show. So we're going to kick off with Jess S, who asked the question: I know you play video games. Have you ever played a game that took over your life, meaning every waking second you had free, you were playing it? In that respect, not for a long time. I used to be heavily into the PlayStation Final Fantasy games. It was the reason I bought a PlayStation 1 all those years back, to play Final Fantasy, was it 5 or 6? I think it was 6. And the next few, 7 and 8 I think I got, and then 9 I did get, but I kind of lost interest by then. The fighting gameplay got far too complicated for my poor mind, so I kind of gave up on them. But those are the kind of games that you get so immersed into the storylines, the kind of sub games that you can do all over the place, and I just had to do it all. I'm not saying, I think the only 2 that I ever finished were 6 and 7. 8 and 9 didn't get finished. I just gave up in the end. These days, example props, I'll just show you a few stuff that I like, and when I do play them I will keep on at them and go on at them. Whoops. Dead Island, a riptide this one is, but I like the whole first person shooter where, you know, and if it's got zombies in, I'm even happier. I really wanted to get into this, and I know it's a game that once I would, in the sense of Final Fantasy, is that I will be there forever playing it, but I just couldn't get into it, and that was Skyrim. That was another one that had a very difficult kind of fighting stats and all that kind of stuff, and just really made it too difficult for me to... Poor brain. Whenever a Grand Theft Auto game comes out, I'm just like immersed in it. It might take me forever to finish, and I still haven't finished this, but I always get round to it in the end. BioShock Infinite, I've still not finished. Every time I think the game's going to finish, it doesn't. It keeps going on. But it's so good, and I can get into that. There's a good solid storyline. The gameplay is really exciting and kind of intuitive, so I really like that. Again, with the zombies, these are all old. I don't buy new games. It's very rare that I will go out and buy a game brand new. I always pick them up second hand. So Dead Rising 2 I've been playing a lot of lately. Batman Arkham Origins, I'm stuck on one part of this and it's driving me insane, which is why I've not finished this yet and why it's it's gathering dust. I love just slashing and hacking and punching, so DMC Devil May Cry is perfect for that kind of stuff. The two that I'm playing mostly at the moment, again, these are quite old games. Prototype 2, which is a lot of fun, and the very first Borderlands. I know there's a Borderlands 2 and there's kind of a Borderlands prequel. As you can see from all those games, I'm now an Xbox person. It's kind of that time. I was on PlayStation, I had a PlayStation 2, and I never thought I would ever go on to Xbox. I was firmly in the PlayStation camp. But for some reason there was a game on Xbox that wasn't on PlayStation and I had to have it, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. And since then I've just always bought an Xbox, though I still haven't got an Xbox One. Sorry. Next question, Mercy's Little Show. Thank you, Mercy, for your question, your first question on this day. And she asked, what is your opinion on Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang leaving Wonder Woman? And do you have any opinions on the new creative team? Now, I've been very bad. I meant to do this before I started this video, but I can't remember for the life of me who the new creative team is. Aren't they husband and wife? Damn it. It may come to me. Anyway, I'm not reading Wonder Woman in the New 52. If you've seen my haul videos, you'll see if I find one really cheaply, I will pick it up, and I've maybe got 4 or 5 of them now, but I'd like to get the whole lot before I start reading it. So can't really say whether I like their writing and their style. I've heard some great things about it. A lot of people saying that it's really pushed Wonder Woman to the fore, while she was really a background character and not really as well liked as, say, Batman and Superman, given that she is of the Trinity. And then, of course, there's people like Reader1717 Cami, who really doesn't like it. Check out her video on Wonder Woman regarding that. But I'll kind of address this question, just creative changes in general. And I'm kind of the opinion that it's nice and good and healthy to change things up once in a while. And I put this in the same category as like Snyder on Batman. He's been on there since day one of the New 52. I would really like to hear someone else's voice on someone else's art style on that book. I know Snyder's a great writer. I know he's got all these like great plans going on for the book, but it starts to get a little bit stagnant, a little bit rigid, because it's just one person's point of view of a character. Now, you may think, you know, with this Cliff Chang and Brian Azzarello, they've clearly, you know, made the character of Wonder Woman, you know, more prominent in the DC universe. So they've done their job. Now let's give it to someone else to push that forward. Now, the problem that I hear we have now is that the new creative team, not necessarily, I don't know if they're going to totally dismiss everything that Azzarello and Chang have done, or they're going to put their own spin on it. So at the same time, it's good to have a creative change. You have to keep the basis of what's gone before. Now, in this New 52 universe, that has got to be so much easier now, because for most of our characters, you have started from scratch with them. So you've only got 3 years of continuity to adhere to. Before the 52, then, oh, you were in trouble. You had to know your stuff. And a lot of people really didn't, and characters were written really, really badly. So I'm all for creative change. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worst. Batwoman, oh, it's still not changed, has it? So that's my answer to you, Mercy. I hope I did your question justice. Comics Reviews asked, what are your favourite graphic novels, past or present? Do you prefer long-running series or those intended to be collected as novels down the road? I'll answer the second part of your question first. I don't have a preference over either, to be honest. Either long-running series or just like there's a kind of limited number, this story will end there. What I think is that an Image do this very well because they don't actually tell you when a comic comes out if it's an ongoing, if it's a limited series. They have allowed their creators to tell the story for as long as it takes. So it could only take 12 issues. It could go on for much longer. You will not know, but you will have the story that that writer intended to write without being pushed to finish sooner, or because sales have done really well to kind of eke it out to get more money. So I think it doesn't matter either way, as long as they tell a story that doesn't feel tired as it keeps going. If it's a long-running series, then don't regurgitate things, don't kind of stretch storylines out that could be done in 3 issues rather than 6, just because you know you've got to put out a collected graphic novel further down the line, collecting a storyline. So that's my thoughts on that. My favourite graphic novels, past or present, again with some examples. Without a shadow of doubt, for past, definitely Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. This is the top of my list. If you've not read The Sandman, grab the graphic novels. They are a treat from start to finish. Something a little bit more recent is Fabio Moon and Gabriel Barr's A Day Tripper. It is an emotional ride. I love this book and I would give you all a copy right now if I could afford to. I think everyone should read this. It is kind of at times heartwarming and then it turns into heartbreaking. It is a tour de force. Love this book. Going back to your second part of your question, this is a very good example of someone who told their story for as long as it took, and the ending was what it could only be, but it worked so well, and that was Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth from Vertigo, a great series, kind of post-apocalyptic. 2 most recent ones and trades that I've recently bought that I was actually quite surprised at. I didn't think I'd like them as much as I did, which was DeConnick's Pretty Deadly. Loved that. Kind of a western with a little bit of a kind of, I guess, a supernatural, mythological kind of backing to it. I don't know if this is an ongoing or if that was the story or we're going to have to wait a bit longer, but great stuff. And another one that I haven't really heard many people talk about, but this was very cheap. You know, these Image Volume 1s are always dirt cheap. So Dead Body Road, a kind of revenge crime story, which I've got to say I did pick up because of the lure of Matteo Scalera on art on here, and he's been doing great work on Black Science. Another book, because I get that in singles, is worth picking up in trade and graphic novels. So that's that question. Next, Mr. Gretzky 9966 asked, you have been put in charge of a comic book about the breakfast cereal monster characters. So Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Booberry, Fruit Brute and Yummy Yummy. What would the series be called and what would it be about? I don't know any of these characters. We don't get a lot of these kind of serial characters over here in the UK. This is very much an American thing. However, I looked them up, I've seen what they're like, and The title may not be so original, but I'm going to call it Serial Killers. Only cereal as in breakfast cereal. And it's about, obviously, these group who go out trying to kill people. Unfortunately, they're absolutely rubbish at it. But all these characters have kind of sidekicks. And in in like Hong Kong Phooey, where Hong Kong Phooey never actually resolves or solves the crimes, it's always the little cat that does it. Well, all our characters have these sidekicks, and it's the sidekicks that actually get the job done. It's a very dark and humorous type of comic book, as you can imagine. Finally, we have, oh no, there's two more. Chris Cowgill, he asked, Marvel and DC have a lot of movie and TV plans at the moment. What titles from Image do you think suit a TV show or even a movie? I've kind of been asked this question before, and I've always said that things like Black Science I think would work really well as a TV show, along with I'd love to see Deadly Class as a TV show. That would just be fantastic. I'm going to kind of veer away from Image, and I know they made a pilot of this. I've seen the trailer on YouTube, but for some reason, I don't know why, no one wanted to pick it up. But as a TV show, I would definitely want to see Lock and Key. Now, finally, and this one is going to be very quick answer, I'm afraid. It's Derek Lucarelli. He asked me, have you read or seen American Psycho? And for both of them, the book and the film, I have to say, I've only read and watched bits of them. I think when I picked the book up, I was probably not mature enough to understand it and appreciate it for what is clearly a great piece of literary work. And the movie, I can only imagine that it's nothing like the book, or it doesn't do the book justice, and it just felt very kind of, it's a serial killer murder from, did it come out late 80s, maybe early 90s? But it's really a no for both of them, I'm afraid, Derek. And that's it for questions this week. Thank you very much again for participating. Don't forget to answer my question right at the top of the video, and pose me some comic book related or pop culture related questions in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.